All right, so we've got Jarret here, and look, guys, I've done the liberty of having a cheeky look at what's coming out this week. So, Jarret, it was great having you. We'll see you next week, mate.
Next time, gentlemen. Until then, stay physical. No, it really is one of those weeks, like literally nothing. I can't even talk about that DVD format because there's nothing even coming out on DVD this week. It's a bit unusual, and I've got no reason as to why nothing's coming out. I mean, there's so many titles coming out this month. I think they could have just like spread them out a bit, but
And that means no reason to be here.
pretty much. But I do have news. I did bring news. I never come empty-handed, gentlemen. So I do have some news.
Awesome. What were you going to say, Ben?
We're going to say it's just a searing indictment on the state of physical media.
Yes, but you know what's funny? I was on the phone with I won't name names, and because I might say some things. And anyway, it's someone that works for a distributor, and they're a production manager. It wasn't Ben, by the way, at a label, and they had said it feels like it's a new dawn of physical media, and particularly locally, because despite there not being that many retailers for physical media, at least in the physical marketplace. I mean, online, sure, you've got Sanity and Easy DVD as well as the others. There is a renewed interest among those specialist retailers with the physical media, and now they're giving these independent labels more attention, and it feels like a bit of changing of the tides. And so we may see distributors come and go. Oh, and they actually did confirm to me about the fact that, yes, the Universal Sony product is going to move to not Pinnacle, but to All Interactive Distribution, which is essentially the same company. They own Pinnacle. And that is happening, and the handover will happen early next year, but effectively it won't change anything. That it may even increase the amount of output, because as Universal, Sony, and Paramount all unwind on a home end and go through, this third party for distribution, they'll be able to concentrate more on those titles.
Not to mention,
I
think
actually see some more
this week as well is a little bit misleading, because last week they just dumped a shit ton on us. It's like they could have just stretched it out, and just had something each week,
Absolutely. I mean, even Viavision last week, we had release, and we've got more releases for them next week. So they've sort of spread it out over the course of that period as well. So yeah, look, I don't think it's an indictment of what's to come. I think, it's an exciting and unusual era that we're entering. And if anything, labels like Umbrella and Viavision are now sort of thriving more with the collector market and producing these incredible editions that are world class in terms of being able to, not only acquire titles that are hard to find globally, but then actually go all out with these special editions and commission interviews with these filmmakers and whomever overseas. Obviously, it's tough at the moment trying to get any actors to talk or writers to talk about films if they're SAG members or WAG members or whatever.
But did you hear that?
Be SAG members.
Did you hear that, Ben? World class, and you're responsible for some of those, mate. Proud.
Bloody oath, yeah.
I was going to say it's just in time too, because the manufacturing costs have jumped up by about 15% over the last couple of months.
So I'm sure the consumers won't mind paying 15% more. It just means they may actually have to support the releases the week of their release rather than waiting for the next 20% off sale at a retailer or something like that. Yeah. I think that if anything, that's something that we should try and reinforce out there. It's like, it's great to get a bargain. I'm all about getting a good deal. But at the end of the day, if you want to continue to see these great releases, we've got to support them and got to get out there and support them within like at least the first 3 to 4 weeks of its release. That's just to show that the market's there. And that way that more money is going back to the distributor. And at the same time, there's more money going in the pocket of the retailer. Everyone wins.
And there's only so many sniper movies they can make, to keep
exactly. Well, who knows? Now when the Sony catalog moves over for distribution through All Interactive next year, we may actually see some of those sniper movies come out on Blu-ray. They might do like they did with the Tremors pack. They might do a Blu-ray pack of all those sniper films. So get excited. But anyway, I have some news, gentlemen. New date. This one I was waiting for a release date, and the release date's been assigned, and that's for Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Now it's coming out November 1st, so it isn't too far away, but considering when it released theatrically as to its home entertainment date, it's a decent stretch of time, and it's good to see a little of a window return. And I'm happy because it allowed me to save up a little bit more cash before I splash out and probably a steelbook or something of that nature for this title. And they've gone all out with the special features as well. They're not holding back. It's got a commentary. It's got like 7 featurettes, and they're actually really good featurettes, including one about the editing of the film, deleted scenes. So it's a decent package. And of course, the 4K Ultra HD will have that much coveted audio format, Dolby Atmos. So I'm excited about that one. I really enjoyed it. Saw it twice theatrically.
That is
a rare treat.
That's another one that I've got interviews in the bank, and I'm hoping we can get them on the show. That'd be fantastic.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah. Would Simon Pegg be at all among them?
Oh, yep, indeed. Wow. Haley Atwell, definitely. Christopher McQuarrie, and
oh my God, yeah.
Pom. That's how I say her name.
No, Tommy Cruise, unfortunately. No Tommy Cruise.
He was in Melbourne, which is where I am, while I was in Sydney. So we just crossed paths. We crossed paths, you know.
Probably hanging out with the biggest catfish of the Yarra, I imagine. But who knows? Who knows? Anyway, some other news, gentlemen. Field of Dreams is coming out locally on 4K. Now, this title has already been released in the States on 4K, but never got a local release through Universal. Well, Viavision have licensed it, and they're going to release it on 4K, but they're also going to put the Blu-ray in there, which means we'll get all the special feature content. In the past, they haven't done that with some of the library titles like Blues Brothers and Almost Famous, so we've missed out on some of that extra content. In this instance, we're not going to, and I mean, it's a terrific title, so it's great that it's actually getting a local 4K release. Mm-hmm. Other news, To Kill a Mockingbird, another title Universal didn't release locally last year. I think what would it have been? It's like 70th anniversary? Something like that?
Yeah, maybe 70.
I think maybe 70, maybe, yeah. Anyway, that one's going to get a release through Viavision on 4K. Only 4K, I believe, no Blu-ray component, but I'm not 100% sure whether maybe all the special features could be on the 4K, because that has happened in the past. But that's coming out the same date on November 15th, so that's exciting. Then further to some news that I delivered, I think, last week with regards to the Equalizer 3. Happy to confirm that's going to be 4K Blu-ray and DVD, so it is getting a 4K release. And I don't know if the first one definitely hasn't had a 4K release, but I don't know if it's still in circulation locally. It was a roadshow title, and some of those
I think it's
roadshow titles, along with John Wick #1, which the local release seems to go for a pretty penny because it's well out of print also. So yeah, who knows? Maybe I'd love to say they'd release a triple pack that Sony might pick it up and put it out as a 3-pack, but I don't know. I think those days are kind of past. But on that date, also a new title that's coming out, recently opened theatrically, and that's December 13th, is My Big Fat Greek Wedding Part 3, which I'm very happy to report they will be porting that beautiful Photoshop theatrical key art to the home entertainment release.
Wow, what a shocker that was.
Might look more convincing on a smaller cover, I don't know. But yeah, it was just, I don't know how that happened. Clearly no one's head looked like it belonged on anyone's body, and they didn't belong in the one place. It was just...
I'm just shocked that it took them so long to make Part 3. Like, it was clearly the sequel that everybody wanted, loudly demanded, and the studios just said, no, we're not going to do it. And then finally they capitulated.
I'm curious to see it. I actually saw the second one at the drive-in when it came out. I'm keen to see the third. I like to think they waited because it got a good script. I'd like to think that.
I think it all comes down to Nina Vardalos. Like, I think she's the one that calls the shots here. Like, and maybe she was just not
the Hollywood powerhouse that is Nina Vardalos.
Well, she is in the Greek world.
she might be. She knows her market, and she might be treating it like an old school Star Wars kind of event rather than a Disney Star Wars event. So she's pacing them out because nobody's calling to ask about doing a sequel to My Life's in Ruins. So
maybe she's like. Maybe they had to wait for Greece to get out of their economic doldrums.
True. Yeah. And then they managed to just get in there before the flash fires and everything that's happened.
Well, they were just holding out for the old guy to die because maybe he was keeping them back.
It's true. He wanted more coin because he was going to give it to his grandchildren's college tuition or something.
Or they lost their Windex sponsorship. I don't know.
Yeah. But did you see this one, Glenn? Out of curiosity,
there was a media screening that I only discovered after the fact. Like, I'm like, what?
Like,
it's just, you know how now, like, they're just being very selective on who they invite to some of these things?
Of course. Well, that's definitely one they wanted to get influencers along to,
clearly,
for sure.
they didn't realize how much I actually love the Greek Wedding franchise.
Yeah,
I do.
absolutely.
We spoke to Lewis Mandalore about it. Like, I was on fucking
board
from day one.
Don't say we.
We as in Good Movie Monday.
Yeah, you.
Well, we
about
the show collective.
That's right. I do recall the interview because I think he mentioned it at a point in time, and he was sort of sworn to a bit of secrecy. And
he was, because clearly they'd filmed it at that point, because it wasn't that long ago. Yeah. Anyway,
damn these celebrities,
we're
so good at keeping to their NDAs. Yeah, true, exactly. And we didn't even get an invite to the media screen. Admittedly, I might have. I just probably didn't notice because it was. Yeah,
but that poster art you're talking about, like, it's obviously mimicking the design of the first two, which were good. They got it right. How do you have like a template to work off and still get it wrong?
I know, it's
crazy. Maybe if they did it over COVID, maybe they just couldn't get everyone in the room at the same time.
I'm sure you could put that into the AI machine, right? And I sound like an old man, but you put it through one of those AI programs and you could come up with something better than that. Admittedly, it might have a secret penis in it or something of an old school Disney cover nature, but that's just even a better treat. It gives you something to look at, like, where's Wally literally? Oh, there it is. It's between Nina's legs. That shouldn't be there.
It's holding it at the back of the image, remember?
Yeah.
Maybe they could take the unusual step of making the actors look like they actually do in real life.
True. That would be.
None of them would really stand for that. I think it's probably in their contract that they.
That's not going to get a My Big Fat Greek Wedding number 4 in 2030 when we can anticipate it. If everyone's looking at Three's poster and going, geez, they look bad. I can't imagine what they look like now.
I haven't seen it, but just going off the trailer, doesn't it just look like John Corbett's just tagging along for the ride?
Absolutely. It feels like that's his career at the moment, though, really, doesn't it? Because that TV series, whatever the new Sex and the City series is.
Yeah.
And, people are disappointed he wasn't in it or in it enough. And then they put him in it, but then they say that he's a useless character and he's just really there for a bit of, scenery and just to fill a tiny void or whatnot. And that feels like it's, long gone are the days of Chris from Northern Exposure, and I yearn for the Northern Exposure revival and bring Chris back because he was fucking cool. He was a cool ass character.
Well, he was cool in the first Greek Wedding.
Definitely. But now he's part of the furniture. So what can you do? But anyway, gentlemen, that is all the news. So despite the fact that there is not one single release hitting home entertainment this week, we have still managed to have a great conversation. And who would have thought it would end on My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3?
I know. Just bring on
the only podcast in the world that's having this conversation.